Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time once again. Another League of Legends shoutcast with your host, Captain Flowers. Today's match is coming to us from the North American SoloQ ranked ladder in the highest of high ELO brackets. We got some Diamond 1, some Master level action coming in on this game, and it's hopefully going to be a very exciting one. We're right here at the 20-second mark. Managed to get in this game right out the gate. So we are not going to miss even a little bit of it. So let's jump right in here to the matchups. We got Nidalee and Garen in the top lane, Hecarim and Rengar in the jungle, Kassadin and Diana in mid lane, Vayne and Caitlyn on AD carry, and Zilean and Soraka rounding out these squads on support. Couple lesser picked champions showing up this game. We've got Kassadin in the mid lane. Don't see him too often. He recently got those buffs on the ultimate, giving him that AP scaling there, especially increasing so as he jumps more and more frequently. So we might see him doing some crazy burst if he can manage to get ahead in this mid game. Zilean, also a very rare support, but one who can turn the tide of a fight and of a game on his own with that incredibly powerful ultimate that essentially gives one of his teammates a free GA that can be far more effective in a GA due to its ability power scaling. If you cast that on a squishy target, you can revive them with near full health almost. Here in the top lane, we've got a couple very different squads with Nidalee and Garen. Nidalee going to be going for a more damage-oriented build, going to be trying to be that assassin, dive in, take out the enemy carries. Garen doing the same thing, but he's going to be doing it while being very tanky, struggling a little bit more in the mobility department. Not going to be able to dart around like Nidalee can, but at the same time, it's going to take a lot more to bring him down than it's going to be to bring her down instead. Blue team posting up here. Normal start in their own jungle. Red team, very defensive start in the river. Neither one of these teams wants to get invaded early on. They just want to go about business as usual. Going to make sure that neither team is up to any sort of trickery. They can go to their lanes normally, not have to worry about any of this. And red team is going to go ahead and disengage this one. Nidalee going to find those traps on top of her Razorbeak camp. Going to trap 3 out of 4, almost getting that 4th one. But that one trap going to be triggered onto the large Razorbeak instead. Nidalee going to be able to grab that very quickly. Go to top lane with a little bit of an EXP edge. Garen going to go ahead and double jungle with Rengar here. Double jungle, such a powerful early mechanism when you have a jungler whose first clear is a little bit rough like you normally see on Rengar. So Garen going to be able to help his jungler out a little bit here and then go to top lane with those extra potions to help himself deal with the early lane poke and annoyance and bullying that is going to be what Nidalee provides. Here in the mid lane, Diana and Kassadin, the war of the AP assassins. Both of these two looking to dive on into the enemy backlines and cause a lot of disruption, a lot of damage, a lot of chaos. If either one of them can manage to get out of this lane with a solid lead, get to the point where they can just shove the other into their turret and then start roaming towards the bottom, towards the enemy jungler, towards the top lane, towards wherever, they're going to be able to swing the momentum of this game absolutely huge due to the roaming potential and the mobility and the power of both of these champions. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on this mid lane matchup and see who manages to win it, see who manages to come out on top. I would not be surprised if the junglers paid a lot of attention to that mid lane matchup because of just how important it's going to be in this game. Nidalee and Garen getting into a little bit of a fight early topside, but Nidalee's going to find it is very hard to get any damage to stick onto Garen when he's got all those potions and a Doran's shield early on. Going to be very, very hard to try to force him out of lane. Bot side, Caitlyn and Soraka going to be able to try to bully these two a little bit due to Vayne not having as strong of a laning phase to deal with that Caitlyn range. Nidalee using her own range advantage over Garen, just shoving him into that turret nice and early, using out as much of a CS lead as she can get. Garen's going to struggle early on to just deal with this poke, but as the lane goes on, Garen's going to get to the point where he can just run up, silence Nidalee, start spinning, and then when she backs away, you can finish that spin on the rest of the creep wave, be able to maintain the creep equilibrium if nothing else through that, and not get shoved into your turret. Caitlyn taking no CS lead over Vayne. Vayne doing a good job keeping herself caught up in that department despite Caitlyn's usual dominance in the laning phase. Kassadin struggling a little bit here against Diana nice and early. Diana such a powerful early laning phase, especially versus these enemy melee champions. She can be very, very weak versus range, but versus melee, she actually has a pretty potent laning stage. And Hecarim showing up bottom, going to land that smite onto Soraka, and that's going to be first blood going over to the blue side. The jungler showing his presence in the bot lane and making it count. 1-0 the score here at 4 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. 6.4 to 5.6 thousand gold. Diana and Kassadin continually trading blows here in this mid lane. Diana having a much stronger early game itemization as well. She's got the double Doran's ring. She has the teleport to cover her potentially weaker early laning phase. A lot of Diana players will do this. They know that Diana, despite having a good matchup against someone like Kassadin, still struggles in general as Rengar and Garen go for the kill onto Nidalee in the top side. Hecarim trying to show up to help with this, but he may have just bit off more than he can chew. He's very low himself. He has to make sure that he doesn't die here. It's already 1 kill. Can Garen make it 2? He needs 1 more auto attack to get it, and it looks like Hecarim is going to end up making that a 1-for-1. Well played on him. Garen getting just a little bit too greedy for that. And it's ultimately going to cost him his life. 2-1 now the score, 7.5 to 6.7 thousand gold. But what I was talking about is the tendency of these Diana players to take teleport in the mid lane. Diana positioning very aggressively as if she was going to dive onto Kassadin, forcing that preemptive ignite. Very well played by her, not trying to drop damage onto Kassadin early. She holds the Q. She waits for Kassadin to drop the ignite and then backs away. If she would have hit Kassadin so that the tower aggro would have been drawn onto her with the ignite there, she surely would have died. Going to flash forward, trying to grab that kill onto Kassadin, but it's not going to be there. Hecarim showing up. He's going to grab his 3rd kill of the game, and the horse is out of the barn, and he is on a rampage. This is going to be a very, very fed jungler that the red team is going to have to answer come the mid game if he keeps up this pace. 8.5 to 7.6 thousand gold. The blue team's starting to take a little bit of a lead. But again, this is just Hecarim showing up, making the plays for his team. Rengar doesn't have quite that early ganking power and pressure that Hecarim does. He can't just charge into the lane with all that movement speed. However, once Rengar hits that level 6, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. He's going to be able to pick off these squishy targets. And that could be what the blue team's looking to do with this Zilean pick, is make it so they're able to negate the Rengar's power. Zilean actually picked up before Rengar. I just now noticed that in the champion select order. So obviously we've just got a guy who really enjoys playing his Zilean here, and it's ever so fortunate for him that he's up against one of those insta-give champions like Rengar, so that he can use his power if he's quick enough on the reaction time. He can use that power of negating one person's death to just essentially remove Rengar's niche. He can remove Rengar's ability to delete someone, bring him back into the fight, and make the fights work out in his team's favor. Nidalee and Garen continuing to trade topside as Nidalee is starting to learn exactly why Garen is so strong. That tankiness, along with the damage, makes it very hard to be able to get him out of this lane. Blue side playing aggro here in the bot side. Now that they've managed to grab that early kill onto Caitlyn, Vayne actually off to a CS lead. And if she can manage to get her Bork in a good timing, she's going to be in a wonderful position to deal with Caitlyn come this mid-game phase. Zilean dropping those bombs, but Caitlyn going to be able to evade that with that 90 caliber net. Diana looking to roam top. These mid laners are level 6 now, and here comes those mid lane roams. It's going to be about who out-rotates the other person, who manages to find the plays sooner. Hecarim now showing up mid lane, wanting to help Diana out with this fight against Kassadin. Despite the fact that Hecarim got no damage onto Diana, he helped Kassadin win that trade simply because Kassadin was able to continue to do damage on Diana as she had to retreat. But now that they've got Rengar here, it's a 2v2. The red team exploding onto Kassadin, but Rengar dropping very quickly as well. He's going to be the first casualty of this fight. Kassadin trying to get away. Diana wants to see if she can secure this kill, but it's going to be very, very tricky, especially with Zilean there. Soraka here as well. Both supports have roamed up, but it looks like it's going to be Diana dead as well. It's a 2-for-0. The blue team coming out big here as both bot laners rotate up, and it's now Soraka who's the focus of the rest of the blue team, and they are going to be able to pick up another kill on top of that. A 3-for-0 here. The blue side comes up absolutely huge in this fight. They managed to take down the Rengar immediately. That's the problem with some of these heavy damage junglers that people like to play in solo queue, like Rengar, like Evelynn. They're very powerful with the ganks. They can get the damage out quickly, but if you're not paying attention, if you're not careful about how much damage you're taking in return, it's really easy to get blown up, and that's exactly what we saw happen. The blue team rotating people over sooner. They managed to make the play happen. They knew their damage output, and they made it work. Red team is definitely going to be struggling after that one. They're hurting now. They're down 2,500 gold at just the 8.5 minute mark. 6-1 the team score. And red team needs to start trying to find a way to get back into this game. They need to realize that they're behind, play carefully, and try to farm up a little bit. Wait for blue team to play a little bit too aggressively, and see if they can come back using those mechanics that they've got through Rengar, through Diana. They've got a lot of burst, and if they can manage to make that work, take advantage of a blue team misplay, they're going to be able to make something happen here. They just can't keep trying to charge into these plays. That's one of the worst things you can do when you're behind like this and you feel like you have to make a play happen. You start forcing plays that aren't actually there. You start making bad decisions, and it ends up giving the enemy more of an advantage than they've already got through the gold and items that they've built up. Diana with blue in the mid lane, going to be able to dish out a lot more harass, a lot more trading potential against Kassadin. Not going to be able to find that Q onto him, so the trade not going to exactly be in her favor yet. Kassadin going to find that magic shield, and that's what Diana has to wait to dissipate before she engages these trades. And go ahead and drop the shield, but then Cassidy popping that immediately. Diana with the dive onto him, but Cassidy with the reversal. He's got the ignite, he's got the damage, and this is the problem with taking TP in the mid lane, is the enemy mid laner has the ability to return that burst as Cassidy jumps away from Rengar and keeps himself safe. That's the Rengar ultimate as well. It's a huge CD to have down as the horse shows up top lane once again, and it's now Garen who's in a lot of trouble. Onslaught of Shadows comes out. The Nidalee Spear is not going to connect. Garen trying to spin away from this one, but there is no escape when the horse hunts you down. 6-0-1 on this Hecarim, changing the game for his team, telling the story of the blue side, and making it so red team has a lot to worry about here as Nidalee and Hecarim rotate up. They predict where Rengar is going to be, and they manage to pick him off. You could tell by the fact that he was just walking through there. He was probably typing to his team in the shop something. He wasn't paying attention to what was happening because he walked right into those two and didn't immediately turn around, gave them enough time to find that kill onto him. And that's the 9th kill of the game for this blue side. 9-1. They are running away with this game, and red team cannot find the answer for the time being. 1-2-0 on Rengar. He's got that jungle item completed, so he's not super incredibly far behind compared to most people in the game. But when you compare him to his counterpart, when you compare him to this Hecarim, 4,600 gold to 3,200 gold. Hecarim is so far ahead of Rengar at this point. Rengar's going to be struggling to try to make plays happen here. Caitlyn going to be able to find the ultimate onto Vayne, but she doesn't die. They actually would have preferred for Vayne's health bar to run out there simply because the Zilean ult was popped. It would have revived her at greater health, but now she's sitting in lane with 1 HP. She's going to be forced to go back. Hecarim showing up bottom as well. Hecarim does have that teleport on the jungler, so he's capable of being anywhere he needs to be in the blink of an eye, as Nidalee now with red buff finds a lot of harass onto Garen. Cassidy and Diana trading again in the mid lane. Diana not going to be able to land that moonfall onto Cassidy, excuse me, as Rengar shows up to give a little bit of morale support, but then being forced to walk away. Cassidy just finding so much damage onto Diana, and there's not a lot she can do about it in that situation. She has to respect the fact that the enemy Hecarim's nearby. They had this ward. They know that Hecarim was going to be close, and if they get into a 2v2 in the mid lane, there's no way that Diana and Rengar can win this one. Hecarim's too far ahead at this point, and they cannot take even fights with him in the equation. Red team doing what they can to try to keep eyes on this horse, try to prevent this lead from getting any more out of control than it already is. The red team wisely posting wards up, not just here in the river, but Soraka also placing a ward up in this very defensive position in the tri-bush. This is what you have to do versus gankers like Hecarim, like Fiddlesticks, who have the ability to gank very powerfully over this tower dive you. You have to be ready for that, because if you can prevent that, if you can manage to get the heads up on that, you could potentially lead that into being a tower dive that goes horribly awry for the enemy team. You could have 3 people dive under your turret, essentially just saying, here's some free money. Speaking of free money, Hecarim showing up mid lane again. Diana being forced to use the flash to get out of that one, or surely would have been dead. Garen retaliating onto Nidalee's aggression in the top side. But he's struggling to be able to find the damage here nice and early. Nidalee's so very evasive. She has all that movement speed, and Garen struggles to be able to stick on top of her with the very limited mobility in his kit. Another spear is going to hit, and Nidalee continues to find the damage topside. Rengar coming up here, though. He's finally got the ult. He finally makes something happen out of it, and the Bola is going to be able to pick up the kill. Diana diving onto Cassidy yet again. These two just will not stop. It's blow for blow time and again here in the mid lane, as these two constantly trying to shove each other out and find that advantage. The 1v1 taking off yet again, and it's Cassidy with the ignite, giving him that edge that Diana does not have. The heal coming down from Soraka, going to keep her mid laner alive. Soraka and Rengar rotating in now, but it's going to be Hecarim diving under the tower. It's Cassidy who dies first, and this is what the red team needed to stay in the game. A double kill off the back of a botched tower dive, as the blue team has to walk away from it. They were hoping that the Zilean ult was going to be able to keep them alive as they dove under the turret, but he wasn't able to get it off on either of his allies. So instead of a tower dive that grabs them a kill, it pops a Zilean ult, and then everybody walks away happy on the blue side. It turns into 2 free kills given over to the red team, including a 6-0 Hecarim shutdown that's 500 gold. Going over there to that red side as well. Going to help them come back into this game. Caitlyn trying to drop that ace in the hole onto Zilean, and Vayne fails to block it. She's just a little bit far to the side, and that's going to be awfully painful. A Zilean death going off for free. He doesn't even bother to use the ultimate onto himself, and the red team is going to grab the kill onto both. Vayne just ever so slightly off to the side from that bullet. She thought she was blocking it, but she wasn't in the way. Zilean not thinking about that, not thinking that he would need to do it. Oh, surely Vayne's going to save me. I've got no worries here. Just going to casually walk back to base, and boom, the Caitlyn shot goes off, and he's done. Vayne then has no protection under the turret. She gets taken down, but now Cassidy showing up. He's got the retaliation. He's already found 1 kill. Can he find the second? He's going to jump forward, but Caitlyn using that heal bait, might be able to get a third kill here, and it is going to be the third kill of that engagement for the red side. They'll happily take that trade. They lose Soraka, but they get the bot lane and the enemy mid laner. Nidalee continuing to pressure Garen topside, though. She's got 115 CS to 82, destroying Garen in the farm department. But this is what you have to expect with range going into melee. So many people talking about how powerful these Juggernaut champions are these days, but a lot of the time, people are also underestimating how much you can abuse that lack of mobility. If you do have a champion who can hop around, who can close distance and jump away like what Nidalee can do, also going with that Ninja Tabby into Iceborne Gauntlet build, an incredibly powerful build to deal with champions that have no gap closer, no ability to actually get up on her. All she has to do is just cast those spells, throw out the auto attacks, it'll drop those freezing fields, and Garen's going to have an absolute nightmare trying to get through those. Nidalee's doing a very good job of itemizing for the 1v1. She realizes that she and Garen are still in this island in top lane. They're still having to do this 1v1, and she wants to make sure that she's the one who thrives in the 1v1 scenario. She realizes how big Hecarim is, how much he's doing, and she wants to say, hey Hecarim, you can go take care of the rest of the team. You can go win these fights in mid lane, in bot lane, at Dragon. Take care of the rest of the game, and I'll deal with Garen in the top side. Garen showing up mid now, though, trying to get that spin damage onto Kassadin. Kassadin is the villain, so Garen going to do a hell of a lot of damage to him, but he also has to be careful about all the damage he's taking in return. One more hit is going to do it, and the Zillion ulti is going to be able to bring Kassadin back alive, but he's just going to be immediately finished off. Garen having no mercy for those jumps. He doesn't want to watch Kassadin get away with just a sliver of health, and he drops the dunk right on top of him. Hecarim trying to see if he can make anything happen here, but instead just going to be able to rotate up top. A little bit of an ARAM situation showing up as everybody rotates towards the mid lane to just stop creeps and try to push in towards each other. One tower taken so far for both teams as Nidalee up top, getting caught out a little bit by Diana, but with Hecarim nearby, a lot of damage is going out onto her. Hecarim Onslaught of Shadows is going to miss as Nidalee finds the kill without going down. Very well played by her, making sure she was able to pick that up without giving one up in return. Well played on this blue side. 11-8 now the score, 26.5 to 25.3 thousand gold. Not even a 2,000 gold game from what was originally a runaway from the blue side. This game went from 9-1 to 11-8. The blue team going 7-2 since that early lead, and it looks like Hecarim might give up another kill here, but instead he is going to be able to back away safely. Rengar and Garen both sitting under this tier 2 turret, but Garen very, very low HP. Garen's passive able to bring him back up better than most other champions. However, it doesn't become that super walking fountain level regen until he does hit that level 16 point, and he's still got a long way to go to make that a reality. Nidalee and Hecarim positioned very aggressively once again, just in the enemy jungle, taking what they can. Hecarim still, despite the fact that he hasn't been off to such a rampage of a start after the initial kills and assists that he was racking up, he's still very powerful, he's still very far ahead. Rengar is catching up, though. Only a 700 gold difference between the junglers, as Nidalee has to be careful about this fighting against Garen. She does have that villain marker above her head, which means if she falls too low, that Demacian Justice is going to fall on top of her with a vengeance. Kassadin trying to find a kill onto Soraka in the enemy jungle, but he's going to bite off more than he could chew, with Rengar and Caitlyn there to give the backup to their support. Garen trying to spin aggressively onto Nidalee once again. Both these champions having the executes. It's a very dangerous game that they're choosing to play here. Speaking of dangerous games, Diana's going to find the Moonfall onto Hecarim. Onslaught of Shadows is not ready. He used it in the top lane, and Diana's going to be able to find the kill onto the horse. His second death of the game. Nidalee trying to close the distance onto Garen, but those minions are going to block the spear for him. A bunch of little bros, those guys, making sure that their big, tough top laner does not go down as Garen finds the silence and the spin onto Nidalee, trying to maneuver himself around these minions to not take the damage from the spear. However, that made it so he didn't have enough damage to be able to scare her off. She was able to close the gap, find the damage, and work around the minions. Well played to Nidalee. Garen trying to play just a bit too scared in that. You either had to go all in, balls deep, full throttle there, or you had to just back away, not go for the trade at all. Garen kind of tried to walk the line between those two options, and it didn't pay off for him. Blue team ahead 2,000 gold. Nidalee looking to extend that a little more, taking down this tier 2 tower in the top lane. Blue team already 2 towers to their name, looking to make that 3 now. The red team doing what they can to try to defend this mid lane turret, but Rengar now in a lot of trouble, and it's going to be Kassadin grabbing that shutdown, almost a max gold value on him as well. A lot of gold going over to the blue side mid laner now, as the blue team quickly goes from 2,000 gold to 4,000 gold ahead. simply from that tower, plus that huge shutdown with the assist money coming in as well. Kassadin trying to defend here in the mid lane. Garen almost getting the execute onto it, but it's not going to work. Kassadin getting out of the range before the animation goes off. Garen trying it again, and it cancels the second time. It's absolutely heartbreaking as the blue team finds a kill onto 4 different members in the last 30 seconds of this game on this red side. Caitlyn, the only one left alive now as Rengar just respawns too. Caitlyn trying to drop that ace in the hole into the fight, but it's not going to do nearly enough. The blue team now up 17-10, 4 towers to 1, 1 dragon to 0, and over 6,000 gold. They are starting to pull away with this once again. The red team looked like they were closing distance there for a while, but all of a sudden the blue team, it's like they flipped a switch. Early on in the game, the switch was in the on position. They flipped it off for a little while, had to save some power, and they just flipped it right back on. And once again, they're dominating this game. They're running away with it, and the red team struggling yet again. Nidalee now with 2 levels up on Garen. Even with that villain marker on her, her heals are just enough to be able to keep her away from Garen's damage and keep her safe. Garen can try to chase, but with Nidalee's ability to just transform, heal herself, run into a brush, and jump away, it's very, very difficult for Garen to make anything happen out of this. He's trying to get on top of her. If he can manage to find that execute, it will work out well for him. But with Hecarim teleporting in, Garen's now the one who has to be on the retreat. He's got Soraka nearby to make sure he stays alive. Hecarim's going to use that TP to make sure that his top laner doesn't give up a death. Itemization, we can see Diana going with that Nashor's Tooth. It's an item that doesn't give her as much burst as other items could potentially give her. However, it gives her the ability to constantly be a threat, trying to find the damage onto Vayne here, but it's not going to be there. With Zilean nearby, there was absolutely no chance she could have got that. Even if she did find the burst, Zilean would have been able to just bring Vayne right back to life, and they pick up a free kill on this red side mid laner. Diana having a very rough game this time around, 1-7. She's got the Nashors, though. That is a strong item. The cooldown's very, very helpful on her. The on-hit damage on the auto attack's very useful as well. Abyssal Scepter going to be her next item coming out, realizing the AP threats coming out from Kassadin, Zilean, and Nidalee. Nidalee not exactly being a huge damage threat this game, going for a much tankier build. Iceborne Gauntlet into Sterak's Gauge. Wants to make sure that she's not getting insta-gibbed by anything on this red side, and instead can just continue to be a threat, throwing out heals, throwing out spears, and annoying everyone on this red side. Hecarim and Garen getting into the 1v1 here topside, but Nidalee doesn't want to allow it to be that 1v1 for long. Rengar and Soraka also bringing in the reinforcements, and it looks like the red team might skill out on Hecarim here. He's dropped very, very low, forced to use that Onslaught of Shadows defensively to get himself to safety. But now that Zilean showed up, it's a 3 versus 3. Caitlyn dropping the ace in the hole from a long way away, but it's going to be Soraka who's the first casualty of the fight, with Hecarim following her into the abyss immediately afterwards. The Zilean ulti going to go off and bring Nidalee back to life. It's Diana trying to dive onto Zilean, but she's going to miss the kill by just 100 HP. It's going to be a 1 for 4 as the blue team comes out big yet again. The Zilean ulti keeping Nidalee alive, bringing her back to life. He also walks away from his own imminent demise with just 100 HP remaining as the blue team skates away from disaster time and again and turns it into success. 22-11 now, 41.9 to 33.1 thousand gold. The blue team's in the driver's seat. Red team is struggling to even get out of the bed of the truck. They don't even know what they're going to do to get back into the game at this point. The blue team is so far ahead. Nidalee and Hecarim, these tanks are nigh unkillable. By the time they do get killed, Zilean's got the ulti on them. They're coming back to life. In the meantime, you've got a Vayne with the highest CS in the game, Blade of the Ruined King Phantom Dancer at 23 minutes, and there's no answer for it. The red team is going to need some sort of a miracle throw from this blue side to be able to come back into the game at this point. Nidalee's itemization, having that Iceborne Gauntlet, the Sterak's Gauge, she's working on a Randuin's now as well, compared to Garen, who simply has a Black Cleaver and a health belt. The itemization between these two is so far different. You can see that Garen has 6,800 gold compared to Nidalee's 9,100. That's a 2,300 gold advantage. That's not a complete item on its own, but it's very, very close. And it's very, very evident with how well Nidalee's able to deal with him. These items not only making her a monster in the 1v1 versus Garen, but also making her very, very useful in the team fights. The Iceborne Gauntlet fields making it very, very hard for Rengar, Garen, and Diana to all move around should they not be able to get their dashes off. Caitlyn going to drop ace in the hole onto Vayne. Vayne looking for that 1v1. The damage onto Caitlyn is there. She is going to be able to bring her down as Zilean manages to get that ult off on Vayne just in time. And it's Rengar now. The Hunter has become the hunted as Vayne trying to find that silver bolt damage to be able to bring him down. Zilean trying to get the bombs off Soraka with the heals, but it's not going to be enough. That's going to be a 2 for 0 here in the bot side. Zilean coming up once again with the clutch saves as the blue team goes a little too deep and the Justice Sword comes down. It's going to be Vayne dying. It's going to be Zilean and Kassadin on the retreat as Garen and Diana give chase, but these two are so elusive. It's going to be very, very hard for the red team to be able to close the distance. Garen finds the silence. Kassadin being forced to run away. He's got no mana left. He's not going to be able to jump away from this. Garen going incredibly deep. He wants these kills. He's got the speed ups, but with Zilean's slowdown, there's nothing he can do to get on top of them. Zilean just going to keep throwing these bombs back and forth, dropping the stuns, dropping the slows. In the meantime, the blue team knocking on heaven's door as the red team cannot protect their inhibitor. Mid lane inhib going to go down here at 25 minutes, 24 to 12, 47 to 37,000 gold. The blue team will not stop extending their lead. Kassadin returning onto Garen. He overextends trying to find the kill onto these two. And this is what you have to look at in solo queue is risk versus reward. Garen's chasing after this Zilean. He's chasing after this Kassadin, trying to make the kill happen. But with Zilean having still half a mana bar remaining, he's got the bombs he can stun with. He's got the slows. The chance of Garen killing someone outside of a DC is 0. He's not going to be able to grab a kill there. The only thing that could happen is disaster, and that's exactly what went down. Lily trying to find this kill onto Soraka. She's going to be able to pick that up right before she dies. Hecarim going to die as well. The blue team actually ending up on the bad end of a trade here. The red team picking up that 2 for 1 in their own favor, but now Vayne up against Diana. Normally, this is a fight that Diana is capable of taking. Diana, a character that has the burst to be able to just jump onto Vayne, blow her up, get rid of her ability to tumble around and do those dives. But speaking of tumbling around and doing those dives, not quite able to tumble away from the Rengar power. The Zilean ulti is going to bring her back to life. She's going to stun Rengar into the wall. One more hit's going to take him down, and that's the 3rd time we've seen Zilean with a clutch save this game. Kassadin now, once again, back in the bot lane, going to find the kill onto Rengar. Onto Diana, excuse me. Rengar died to Vayne as Kassadin, Vayne, and Zilean now all push up the bot side. This is the last remaining inhibitor here for the red team that the blue side is now looking to pressure as 5. They're going to break this 2nd tier turret almost immediately. Hecarim with no care in the world, just diving into the tier 3 turret, diving onto Soraka. Onslaught of Shadows is there. He wants to remove her from this equation, and it's going to be the Kassadin follow-up that gets the credit for the kill. The blue side is going to have a double kill onto their mid laner yet again. It's going to be only Garen and Rengar alive as the blue team takes out the final inhibitor of the game before the 27-minute mark even shows up. They're onto the Nexus. The remaining red team members, there's nothing they can do to stop this. Diana just kind of running up, going through the motions at this point as the blue side manages to pick up the kill onto her, but not before she takes Kassadin down. Just looking to increase that KDA, I suppose. Rengar walking out of the fountain, but you're not even allowed to do that. Not against how fed this blue side is. The surrender vote going to fail for red side, but that's not exactly going to matter as the blue team takes this game 32-15 here at the 27.5-minute mark. A 14,000 gold lead, 11 towers to 1. An incredibly early game lead snowballed off the back of Hecarim turns into just this huge, monstrous snowball that nobody can stop from rolling right into the red team base. Very fun game to watch. GG well played to everyone involved. MVP of the game going right on over to Hecarim, who made it so his whole team was just able to rock that game from start to finish. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. Once again, my name is Captain Flowers. I'm an aspiring shoutcaster. If you enjoyed this cast, if you'd like to see more like it, please feel free to check out the other videos on the channel. Leave me some messages, leave me some comments, let me know what you think, and I'll catch you guys next time.